Cycles of functionality. What does that mean? I mean, I've heard of cycles of dysfunction, but is there actually a way to have a cycle that's healthy? This is Beth Wee in the Koinonia Kitchen, and I think happily the answer is yes. There are some cycles to becoming functional in this world and becoming accountable for yourself and moving into happy, joyous, and free, which is the angle most of us want to end up. I'm going to give you one cycle of functionality and see what you think about it. The first one I'm going to say is admit. That's the first place we start when we admit something. Maybe we're admitting our powerlessness over something. Let's use that as the example. So I'm admitting that I'm powerless over a behavior or using a substance, and I just have to admit that this has become a problem in my life. Before I can get to the other side of the cycle, which I'm going to say is acceptance, accepting the fact that I have that problem, accepting myself as someone with that problem, there's a middle place to sit. I can't get from admitting to accepting without the middle A, and that is to allow it. What does that mean? Let's say that I admit that I have an addiction. I have to allow that before I can accept it. How do I mean? Each one of us has a place inside us called ego, where we are our own little God. You know, ego is like, I'm God. And it's a false place for us, but it's something that has been built up over the years of our lives because we've been afraid. Ego is basically built on fear, and us trying to get through the fears builds these little walls of ego. It's a false self trying to navigate a difficult world. Now, that part of me has to, after admitting something serious like an addiction, I have to allow that. That doesn't mean that it isn't so if I don't allow it. It just means that I don't perceive it as real until I allow it. I have to allow the fact that I have this addiction. I have to allow the fact that I've become powerless over something and that I can't manage it on my own. I have to get to that middle place where I've admitted it and I've seen the fruit of the problem. And now I'm going to allow it so that I can move into the next phase where I will accept it. Because in acceptance, I can get help and it can change. Does that make sense? So that's a cycle of functionality, going from admitting to allowing to accepting. And it happens ba-boom, ba-boom, boom. Sometimes we may stall in one of the places. We can admit, but we haven't really accepted. I've known people that I've worked with who have a drinking problem, and they admit that they're powerless over alcohol, that their lives have become unmanageable. But they haven't allowed that to be their reality. And so they continue to slip. That means they continue to pick up a drink here and there and fall back into the demoralized state, which got them to admit that the alcoholism was present. Now, that slip, they say slip stands for a serious lapse in program, but that slip can take them back to the bottom or to a deeper bottom or a lower bottom. And until they allow the fact that their life must change to deal with the alcoholism, they're not going to be able to stay sober. Now, let's take a different disease so you understand that. What if you found out that you had cancer and you admitted that you had cancer, but you will not allow it in your mind. I don't allow this cancer. I'm not going to have any treatment. I am not going to do the next right thing because I do not allow it and I will not accept it. The progress of the disease will continue. The progression of the disease will continue, and the cancer will grow. Other diseases are the same. To be a disease, according to the American Medical Association, there are 3 factors. It must be chronic, meaning it doesn't stop. It must be progressive, meaning it gets worse over time. And it must be eventually fatal, meaning that it will kill you in the end. So chronic, progressive, and fatal. So when we look at admitting and allowing, we can do something about the chronic, progressive, fatal nature of the disease, and we can move into acceptance and then find our way to help. I'm not sure if you've got this yet. The reality of our lives is based on what we allow ourselves to believe. Belief is a really powerful spiritual stance. If you believe something, whether it's true or not, you will live as if it is true. When you allow yourself to recognize your addiction, the cycle of functionality kicks in and you can begin to treat your addiction. It's cyclical. You're just going to start to run a new wheel. Instead of the wheel that leads to dysfunction, you're going to start running a wheel that leads to function. You're going to admit, allow, and accept. And then you're going to admit, allow, and accept. And your life is going to progressively get better. It's good to know, isn't it, that there are cycles of functionality. You can set yourself up to succeed. You can celebrate the small wins. You know, they say it takes 5 times praising to cancel 1 criticism. Do you do that for yourself? Come on, I've heard the inside of your head. You're constantly criticizing yourself. Start praising yourself here and there. Notice when you do it right. Admit, allow, accept. You'll start to see the changes coming. If you're talking to your higher power, ask the higher power for psychic change. Ask him for the metanoia, the new way of thinking that's going to get you out of the old patterns of your life. Higher power can work with you on that. You can admit, you can allow, you can accept. You can celebrate the small wins. You can set yourself up to succeed. And believe it or not, you're going to end up in functionality. It's time to take addiction out of the shadows and shine the encouraging light of recovery on everyone affected. Good Seed Podcast is powered by BethWE.com, a nonprofit ministry based in Vero Beach, Florida. We'll start the uncomfortable conversations that turn despair into hope and complacency into action. Connect, communicate, and thrive with us. Check us out online at BethWE.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk again soon.